Just give it a few seconds, and you're good to go.
All right, this is S.N.R Sports Talk I'm Shant Pamboukian, and
It's Ronan Heykoop. So what's our first topic here today, man?
who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
See, my take on who's going to win the Super Bowl might be a little biased because my team is currently number 1 in the power rankings. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers win the Super Bowl this year. I think they surprise the Chiefs in the playoffs. Everybody is just completely ignoring the fact that they have the best defense in the league by such a large margin. And Juju, James Washington stepped up, and as well as Chase Claypool. And I think their offense is it's getting better every week, I think.
I could see that, but I don't know. I feel like in Steelers fashion, they're going to fall apart in the playoffs. That's just always in the back of my head.
Oh, that's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. I just think that every single game we've seen the Chiefs win has been a shootout. And the Steelers have the best defense in the league, and it is not going to be a shootout. So I don't know how it's all going to come down. Can the Chiefs' defense outperform Ben Roethlisberger? And I don't think you're stopping Ben Roethlisberger in the AFC Championship game.
That's true.
Because they're going to be the first or second seed, respectfully, depending on how it. I don't see the Chiefs losing any more games, to be honest. I don't think they have anybody good enough to lose to. Yeah. Watch, they lose to like the Giants next week or something crazy like that.
Well, I think. I don't. There's a lot of picks to choose from. There's a lot of teams that have championship potential.
I think it's definitely not going to be an NFC team. There's no way. The NFC isn't strong enough. The Seahawks, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Seahawks have a chance against the Chiefs or the Ravens or the Steelers.
You know which team? This might be very controversial, but I think the Titans could possibly.
I do like how the Titans are playing, and people fail to realize that Ryan Tannehill has a better QB passing rating in his last 15 games than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is a 102. Ryan Tannehill's a 116. Throwing for 3 more touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes, 1 less interception, and 65 and change less yards.
Well, also, you can't forget, the team didn't really lose much over the offseason.
Nothing.
They mostly gained. And Derrick Henry is still tossing people around like they're 5-year-olds.
Dude, he made Josh Norman his son.
I'm so glad we got rid of him before. If that happened to us, Washington,
my God.
that would have been bad.
Yeah, that would have been quite bad. Speaking of decent, or bad, more like dumpster fire bad. What about the NFC East, man?
I don't know.
NFC East, man. Who do you think's gonna win that one?
It literally could be anyone. I definitely don't think the Giants can. The
Giants are dumpster fire.
I think the Washington, I don't think they are. I feel like, of course, as being a Washington fan, I obviously want to say they will, but it's just we're too weak at quarterback.
Yeah, I don't understand the problem because on paper you have good quarterbacks that have just not performed once in their life. Like Dwayne Haskins was a stud at Ohio State, and now he's just average.
Yeah,
below average. I don't think he's had enough of a chance to prove himself.
Yeah, but there's been rumors that him in practice, he's been very, he's been very cocky, and he thinks he's perfect and he does nothing wrong.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much every NFL quarterback on the face of the earth. I mean, I think you kind of have to be a little cocky. No, did you see Aaron Rodgers doing this celebration and then getting blown out by like 25 points? I mean, come on now.
That is Aaron Rodgers, but I think. With him, he does it too. Since we've had no success ever since he entered, and he just can't be doing that. Like, at least do something. Like, at least go 7-9, and then he could be like, "Yeah, you're cool" or something.
Yeah, at least go 7-9, man.
Then you can be confident. But other than that, just stick to what you got.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be the Eagles. I don't think the Cowboys, especially losing Dak Prescott, unless Andy Dalton, a.k.a. Redhead Redemption, comes in clutch and goes 8-8. Other than that, I really don't think there's any chance for It's definitely not going to be the Giants.
Oh,
The Giants are completely out of the equation.
yeah.
I guess if like the Redskins like win out all their division games, like win like 6 games,
Mm-hmm.
and then just like everybody else loses every other game, you might have a chance. But I don't see the Eagles going like 4-12 or something like that.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Like, people seem to forget about the NFC East is that the Eagles won the Super Bowl not that long ago.
Like 2 years, 3 years.
Exactly. And they still have not lost a lot of that, like, fire, but it's just injuries keep.
Well, I mean, the man who won the Super Bowl is now on the Bears. So, like,
that's true.
like Nick Foles has been a terrible starting quarterback, but coming off injury, he's been a stud.
He's so weird. Him and Ryan Fitzpatrick or something else.
Oh yeah, Ryan. Dude, I'll never forget that interview with Ryan Fitzpatrick with the big gold chain. And he's sitting when he was on the Bucks. He threw like 3 TDs. It was like his best game of all time. His aviators on, just sitting there like he did something magical. It's funny.
Went to Harvard and he's dressing up like that.
Yeah. The man is like the smartest guy in the NFL too. Like, why don't you just like quit your job and become a bioengineer?
Exactly.
Honestly.
You're just ruining your head at that point, taking headshots.
Yeah.
Just rather actually make a living.
Especially when you're getting behind that Jets offensive line.
Oh my gosh. So another thing is, if you own Josh Jacobs in fantasy, I'm sorry. They decided to bench their whole offensive line for coronavirus. So, like, they're starting.
Nice.
So, poor Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs, yeah. That's going to suck.
Oof. Man, fantasy's been so weird this year.
Oh, my gosh.
I really thought I had good teams going into it, and I'm like 1-5, I swear.
Kenyon Drake was my second-round pick.
Kenyon? Okay, this isn't one of my leagues. My first-round pick, I was like the last pick. I took Michael Thomas, right? You could say, oh, yeah, there was literally not a better person to pick on the draft. Like, normally I would go running back, wide receiver. That's normally how I go. But I'm sitting there like, at most, in the second round, I'm getting Keon Drake, like, at the best. So I might as well take Michael Thomas here.
Yeah.
He gets hurt. I take Keon Drake. Keon Drake's been garbage. And then he has, like, a 38-point game while he's on my bench.
No,
it's like...
I traded him the week before he got the 34-point game.
Shit.
I forgot for who did I
man.
trade him for? I think I traded him for Le'Veon Bell and another random guy because I thought that not right now, but later on Le'Veon Bell can make a big impact.
Yeah, I think if they split carries with Edwards-Helaire, I think also that his success is should be more attributed to the offensive scheme he's in as opposed to his own. Because like he's done some really good stuff, but like when they like go to that angle behind the quarterback and they replay it and he gets a snap and there's like a 5-mile gap between the left tackle and the left guard with nobody in it, you're like, all right, I could do that, you know. But and also you also have to think Patrick Mahomes slinging the ball 75 yards if you're a linebacker, so you can't they're not blitzing every time. They have a great offensive line. So I think with Le'Veon Bell, I think is gonna just completely change.
Make it unfair.
Yeah, genuinely make it unfair.
They still have Tyreek Hill, so they're gonna have to double team him no matter what. Put someone down deep and put someone on him.
See, you don't even have to double team him. You just have to throw a safety. Like, just go. Just go all the way down there and pray to God that he doesn't get the ball.
Just gotta wait.
Because the problem with Tyreek Hill is he runs all those deep routes, but then he just switches it up with a slant, and then he's gone. That's how he scores most of his touchdowns, is those slant or post routes and the deep ball. And it's just...
I feel bad for Travis Kelce because there's so many stars on that team now. I feel like he's going to get outshined at this point. I've not heard anything about him.
He's had a really good fantasy year.
Really?
Yeah, he's like been 20-plus points, I think, like every week.
Wow.
Or like plus 15. He's been, and that's PPR, obviously. I don't play anything else. Travis Kelce's obviously the second target. Like, there's a tight end will never be the first target unless you're like the Ravens and you have no wide receivers.
Yeah.
But I just, it's such a weird team. But, like, you also can't hate them because they're all drafted. Like, Patrick Mahomes went to Texas Tech. Travis Kelce went to like JUCO ball or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really hate them. But now adding Le'Veon Bell, you're like Golden State. Where? Excuse me.
It's the Warriors. It's just it's not as bad because at least the Jets didn't lose to them in like any big game like the Thunder did to
Yeah.
the Warriors.
Yes, nothing will ever, I think, rival that in modern, because eventually it's going to be like, especially in basketball, super teams are like the name of the game. Like you kind of have to have one now.
Well,
There's also just a lot more talent in the NBA, but
I feel like right now it's getting off topic, but the NBA there's no super teams. Not like
yeah.
no specific like big three. It's always just like a duo.
It's a duo and then role players.
If save the Wizards, if John Wall comes back to be better than he was before, which that's what they're saying he's going to be.
The joys of being a Washington sports fan. I could not relate to that in the slightest.
But I feel like if DC can get a good defensive center, because our defense, we rank like 4th, 5th in offense, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, you had Bradley Beal averaging like 32 and a half and didn't get an all-star.
Crazy. And then our defense was like 29th. They're like 28th.
Yeah, that's not
like
great.
If the Wizards can get someone like Rudy Gobert or who else? I don't know.
Clint Capella's
I could
the
see
name that
Clint
comes
Capella.
to name. I really was not happy when the Rockets lost him. I was really not.
The Rockets are just...
Yeah, it's just... I just didn't like the Russell Westbrook trade. And for those who don't know, I'm a James Harden bandwagon. As soon as Harden got traded to the Rockets, I've been a Rockets fan. So for like my entire life, practically. But when they traded for Russell Westbrook, I really wasn't happy with that, especially because they lost Clint Capella mid-season right before that, so they had to play small ball. And I also don't really think it was Mike D'Antoni's fault that it was what happened, but there was no stopping the Lakers. LeBron was on a mission, and you're not going to stop arguably the greatest basketball player of all time if he wants a championship. But back to football. So we were talking about how garbage the AFC East is, or the NFC East. Let's talk about the NFC North.
Ooh.
Or the AFC North.
AFC North.
Arguably the best division in the league. Steelers, Bengals, Browns, and Ravens.
If we switch like the Bengals and the Cowboys, Bengals would easily be first.
Oh yeah, and the AFC I keep missing NFC East.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Bengals would definitely be.
Bengals are great. I don't like people. Yeah, they might not have the best record, but they're in the toughest division. One of the toughest divisions.
Well, yeah, you could be a really good team. You're taking 2 L's to the Steelers. You're taking 2 L's to the Ravens, and you might take an L twice to the Browns, to be honest. Like, Baker Mayfield hasn't been playing his best, but the games that he has played well, he's played awesome.
So I heard about, what's his name? So, do you remember that guy, Sean Oakman?
Can't say that rings a bell.
It was that one NFL meme, and he played, I forgot what college he played for, but, so.
I can't remember. Let me look up a picture of him.
Yeah, just look up Sean Oakman.
Sean Oakman. Of course, my Chromebook's not gonna load. Oh, went to Baylor. Oh yeah. So I know that.
Myles Garrett actually, I think, DM'd him on Instagram, asked him to come join, and he said maybe. I don't think it's gonna happen, but if that did, that would make an already scary Browns team even scarier.
Yeah. Does he play in the league?
No, he sadly got. He was gonna get drafted first round. And it was a false rape.
Oh, yeah. Now the whole story's coming back to me. Yeah. Dude, that'd be insane. I just don't know. How old is he? 28, maybe?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, coming into the league at the age of 28. But, I mean, he was a stud at Baylor.
Oh,
yeah, now I know who you're talking about. But, yeah, that'd be weird, honestly. See a man come out of nowhere.
Well, what's his name? The Cowboys, Aldon Smith.
Yeah.
He's doing great. He played for the 49ers in 2013. He was good. I didn't watch him, but I've seen highlights, and that man is scary.
Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys are such a weird team. I think they should be good.
It's yeah. Oh, who?
Like, besides their defense, like, they're a good team. Like, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. They got Ezekiel Elliott, who has been god-awful.
Oh, yeah.
But he's still one of the best running backs in the league. I mean, he could fumble 4 times in a game or whatever.
And still do great.
Yeah, I think he still had like 150 yards or
Yeah.
something like that on 2 forced fumbles. Oh my god.
It's truly just odd. I
This
feel
whole
like,
season is odd.
I feel like I've seen something like that Cowboys team before, but I can't put my finger on it.
It reminds me very much of the Chargers team of last year, who were supposed to do good and were just garbage. I mean, if you look at them, they got Joey Bosa,
Mm-hmm.
Ingram the third on their line, and then on offense now they have Tyrod Taylor. Well, they did have Tyrod Taylor for like a hot 5 minutes, and then they had Justin Herbert, who's played pretty well.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and they have a decent offensive line. Excuse me. But they just never could amount to anything
It's I feel
either
like
year.
They can't put the pieces together.
Yeah, that's a lot of teams in the NFL nowadays, I think. It's like there's a ton of teams that have get one piece and they're crystal.
They they can't form like what the Chiefs have done. I feel like it will never be matched again with how much like star power, like how like
It
it's-
reminds me of like the old Steeler and Cowboys teams that
Yeah.
they just drafted so well that they took Mean Joe Green in the 4th round and he ended up being almost rookie of the year.
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that they got lucky with. Like Patrick Mahomes, what pick was he? 8th or 9th?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, so imagine drafting Justin Herbert and in 2 years he's winning a Super Bowl. That's the equivalent pretty much. And Tyreek Hill wasn't a high draft pick. I think Travis Kelce wasn't even drafted.
Wow.
Edwards-Helaire was their first round pick. He was a late first rounder.
I think last pick.
I think he was last pick. Yeah, I mean they won the Super Bowl, so they must be 32 unless they traded up.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you think about it, and then they did really well in free agency, bringing in guys like the Honey Badger.
Oh yeah.
Their defense, I don't think is as solid as it was last year. They lost that guy on the defensive line, defensive tackle.
Ooh, I think I know who you're talking about.
I can't remember. And then they lost a cornerback.
Kendall Fuller.
No, isn't he still there?
No, he went to Washington again. He's
Oh,
actually
did he?
been a top 5 cornerback this year.
Yeah, I'm Virginia Tech man. I love it. But yeah. So that's maybe who I was thinking of in the secondary that they lost. But yeah, I just don't. It's gonna be interesting. And honestly, I kind of just want the playoffs to start already because I'm starting to get bored with regular season football. Because it's like college football. I love college football. I haven't even bothered watching half of it because Mississippi State beats LSU, Mississippi State loses to somebody else loses to that. No team has a good record besides Clemson, Notre Dame, and Alabama.
I don't know. The NFL just doesn't feel exciting as last year.
It definitely doesn't. It's in this weird spot too with I don't think it's 'cause of Rona, but
It could influence.
I think it's just on everybody's mind. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, because I'm looking at this right now. The NFL is thinking about bubbles, but how are you gonna do bubbles
not
with
gonna do bubbles.
180 players per roster?
Yeah.
And coaches. It's just football's such a weird sport. Baseball was hard to do the bubbles, but they did it for the playoffs. NBA was so easy. I mean, you have a 13-man roster with 4 coaches tops. I think it's just a weird year for everything, and especially now that the NBA season just ended and the World Series is going on right now. I think people aren't as believe it or not, I don't think people are as excited for football as they normally are.
Yeah, I don't feel like that excitement, the same energy.
Yeah, and
without crowds possibly could influence it too. It might.
Oh, for sure. That's a massive part of football.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing is I'm looking here, teams the Saints are 3-2, Cowboys are 2-4, Houston's 1-5, Cleveland's 4-2, The Jets are 0-6. Chargers are 1-4. Like, there's a lot of good teams that are not doing the best. Like, Niners are 3-3. So, it's just weird, and we'll see. There will only be one undefeated team at the end of next week. Steelers play the Titans at 1 o'clock on Sunday. What's your pick 'em for that?
That's gonna be a close game. Ooh, Steelers, I feel like are gonna take it away, but the Titans could always have a chance. I'm not gonna disregard the Titans for anything because they can always take it, but the Steelers, I think,
I just don't think the Titans have a good enough defense.
Yeah.
And see, the best thing about the Steelers is they've been good for 40 years. Like, they've had off years, like last season.
Yeah.
They didn't make the playoffs. But it's like they have such a good defense that I don't think the Titans are going to be able to score more than 21.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to come down to, can the Titans stop their offense?
Yeah.
Because the Steelers' offense isn't like elite by any means. Like, it's a good offense. But it just comes down to the Steelers have proven if you have a great defense and a good offensive line, you could win games no matter what.
Like, even that off year for the Steelers is literally a good year for the Washington football team. So even then,
it's a great year.
We're celebrating. So
yeah, 8-8. You're celebrating. Yeah, I mean, my dad's a Jets fan, so I kind of have some secondhand embarrassment of just the dumpster fire that is that franchise. But I can't even talk about the Jets. I'll get mad. It's so bad. Literally trading away all your good players just to keep Adam Gase. Oh my God.
I don't think it's seeming now what the Jaguars did, the trading away all their players. It doesn't seem like that bad. Like, they're doing better than everyone thought they were going to be 0-16. But they've won a game, right?
Yeah, they're 1-5, but they play the Chargers, so they're going to be 1-6. Let's see their schedule. I think they have a difficult schedule though.
Yeah.
So it's such a weird, I keep saying it, but it's such a weird year. Like, the Giants are terrible, right? They're god awful, and the Eagles are decent. The Eagles beat the Giants last night 22-21. Like, literally by 1 point.
Yeah. And, last Sunday, Washington was behind by 1 after we scored a touchdown, and we decided to go for 2, and, of course, we missed it.
Yeah.
And I say we should have just kicked the field goal because our defense, if the Washington defense can stick together, they can be a top 5 defense.
Easily. I mean, Chase Young has proved himself coming out of the gate. Now you have Kendall Fuller. Trying to think of the linebacker I'm thinking of that's good.
Bostic?
Yeah.
I feel like we lost, what's his name? Matt Ioannidis at the early, I think, Browns game we lost him. And I think that's why our defense is such a downfall recently. He's been the unspoken anchor of it.
Yeah, that's really important for defenses. That's like when Ryan Shazier went out with that big injury. I keep taking everything back to the Steelers, but to be honest, I don't watch as much football as the average American.
Yeah.
Like when he got hurt, he wasn't the star, but he was the anchor. He was the captain. So when he went down with a career-ending injury, their defense, like the next couple games, gave up massive numbers, and that's honestly what's cost us the number 1 seed that year. But yeah, and then you got New England sitting there up at the AFC North or the AFC East.
Cam Newton can do some pretty.
I think Cam Newton going to the Patriots for like a bag of peanuts was, I think, the biggest failure of all time. Every team that needed a quarterback should have signed him. Washington should have signed him.
We might actually next year. That's what I've heard because obviously Ron Rivera and Cam Newton are close. So
that'd be awesome. I mean, I just like I live around here, so I at least like the Redskins to be decent.
Yeah.
And also, I don't care if they beat the Cowboys. I'd actually prefer them beating the Cowboys.
Even like people who come from Dallas and move here, they're like fans of the Mavericks, all the other Dallas sports teams. They don't like the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think Cowboys fans are just like annoying.
I actually think Eagles fans are they're like kind of tied to me. They're both the same amount of annoying because they've had recent success.
Yeah, that's why Philly's annoying. They think they're actually good.
They can be, but when you aren't good, don't bloat.
Yeah, hey, that's sports though for you. I
Yeah,
mean, if your team wins a Super Bowl out of nowhere, frankly, out
that's
of
true.
nowhere
With a backup quarterback, I would.
against Tom Brady of all people, the literal GOAT, I think you can talk whatever you want to talk, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
that's true. I would
Like
definitely.
like they almost burnt their city to the ground celebrating that Super Bowl win.
That's like Washington beating them with like Alex Smith.
Oh yeah, like how crazy would it be? Like the what's it called? When the Caps won the chip, everybody lost their mind because it was the first time anything in Washington had been won in like 30 years.
Yeah.
Like literally nothing's been won here. And then they won the Stanley Cup, World Series, and then the WNBA title in like 10 minutes, and everybody lost their minds.
Our two mainstream sports, the most loved sports in America, we can't win.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a witch cursed us maybe for those two teams, but to our other teams have success. I mean, at least we're getting some success. I'm happy.
Yeah, at least hey, you got 2 chips in your lifetime. There's some people that go their entire lives without winning anything. Like imagine being a Red Sox fan in like the 80s.
Oh
You're
yeah.
literally like 30 years out from winning anything.
Or like
But,
Cleveland. Like
I mean, you're from Cleveland. That's just like
first,
stab in the
yeah.
heart. First of all, you're a Cleveland sports fan. Second of all, Cleveland stinks.
Mhm.
So, but yeah.
I feel like with the NFL this year, I feel like what ruined the season this year. Last year there were so many surprises. There was
Yeah.
so many.
It was more uncertain. Like the Chiefs were good. The Titans came out of nowhere. The Ravens were good. Then the Ravens lost, I think. Yeah, I agree. I think it was more uncertain. It's kind of like the NBA
49ers.
season
The
this
49ers
year.
went 4-12 that year.
Yeah,
And then they came back and went to the Super Bowl. That's crazy.
yeah. I mean, when teams draft good and they have a good coach,
Mhm.
anything can happen. Anything can happen. But if you don't, and you're like the Jets, and you've had like 10 first-round top 5 draft picks in the last 10 years, and none of them are on your team anymore, it's like Jets.
Yeah.
I saw a joke on Twitter. It's Jets. Just end the season. I was like, I can appreciate that. I have one team that's 0-6, one team that's 5-0.
So you get the best of both worlds.
yeah, just average it out. I'm 3-3. I'm 3-3 on the season.
Well, at least the Washington Football Organization said that they're going to keep the name until 2021, which sucks. I don't like that.
I don't understand. I really like the Statesman, the Washington Statesman. I thought that was pretty cool.
I like the the Red Wolves because it's actually an endangered species. So changing our name to that would actually cause awareness.
I just really didn't like the Red Hogs or whatever. That was so bad.
That
I
was
thought
terrible.
Senators was bad. I like Statesman and then switching the colors to red, white, and blue.
Oh yeah, I feel like they need to fully get away from the Redskins.
Yeah.
They have to change their colors, which I'm all for. I like.
Honestly, I don't think they ever will get away from it because, like, even I find myself calling them the Redskins.
Yeah.
It's like
It's just,
and I think that's also comes down to partially because they don't have a name. It's just the Washington football team is so bad. Like, I understand, like, it probably took forever to come up with like a name that was suitable, but like literally, you get like 5 Washington Redskins fans, put them all in a group together, have one board member, and literally pick a name, and people will be fine with it 9 times out of 10.
what was I gonna say? Washington. Oh, I forgot. That sucks.
Nice. But so Washington, I don't. There's a lot of, like we were talking about, there's uncertainty in who's going to do well. This year is just uncertainty on who's going to perform each week, I think. Like, there's so many flips or close calls. I mean, it's just hard to predict, honestly, especially when even like Sports Center is getting a lot of the things wrong. You kind of like sit there and you're like, because look, you can look at this one. This is a perfect example. Carolina's 3-3. No, New Orleans is 3-2. They're playing each other at 1:00 on Sunday.
Oh, that's so weird to think about because, like, oh, the Saints are going to be so good next year. They're good, but the Panthers are almost going to – they could beat them this week.
And then you're forgetting who else is in their division. The Buccaneers with the GOAT at the helm. Well, at the beginning of the year, I thought Tom Brady was actually going to have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now, when I look at the AFC, I'm like, well, he's definitely going to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
He might get to the Super Bowl, but he's not winning a Super Bowl.
There's something about him. I think he's just old. This year is like the last year of not like there's the first year of non-production from like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
And I think Rodgers isn't too far behind. Like Rodgers had a couple games, but his last game was god awful.
Oh yeah.
And he never had games like that his entire life. Or entire career rather. So it's the passing of the torch right now because you have your Deshaun Watsons, your Sam Darnolds, who are not the best, but are in trashy situations. Like there's no reason that the Houston should be 1-5 right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely no reason. I understand you lost DeAndre Hopkins, but you still have a top 10 quarterback. I think that all comes down to Bill O'Brien, but wasn't he just fired? So maybe that'll be.
Hopefully, I think won their.
I think he did just get fired, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting the season 1-5 for Houston is unacceptable, to be honest, if you're a Houston fan. But yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be interesting to see how the rest of it plays out. I think once we get into around week 10 or 11, we'll start. Oh my goodness, we will start to be able to actually predict who might actually win the Super Bowl or just give a better sense of how the rankings are going to play out. Because, like, the Bills are probably going to win the division, right?
Yeah.
Steelers are probably going to win their division. The Ravens, so that makes the Ravens one of the wild cards.
Yeah.
And I'd say, so the Chiefs are going to win theirs. This is just talking about AFC. Chiefs are going to win theirs. Titans are going to win theirs. Steelers, Bills. So that leaves one spot for a team to fill in, which I don't even think you could fill in that spot. I mean, maybe Cleveland too. How crazy would that be? 3 teams from the same division in the playoffs.
That'd be interesting.
Because I don't think there's good enough. Like Jacksonville's not doing anything this year. Denver's not doing anything this year. Chargers aren't.
The Raiders. I could see the Raiders definitely.
I could see the Raiders, 3-2.
If their O-line comes back and they can recover from them being missing, then definitely.
Yeah, so they're going to lose this weekend to Tampa Bay, obviously. So Tampa Bay is going to be 5-2. They're going to be 3-3. They're going to get their O-line back in maybe not next week, but the week after. So, yeah, I could see the Raiders there. I think that's about the only team, though, the Raiders and Browns. And then on the NFC side of the ball, I'd say Eagles win the division. Arizona win, or no, Arizona
either
Arizona or Seattle. Then so let's just say Seattle wins because they're 5-0. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Arizona is going to be the other wild card. So that probably leaves it up to the Saints and Tampa, who's going to get the second wild card. So that's pretty much how that one's going to go. And I'm thinking, what's the fourth division? Group of teams. The North. Packers.
Yeah,
it's going to be the Packers. But then again, the Bears are 5-1. So I guess it's between the Saints, Bears, and Tampa who's going to take that. As of right now, who knows? Anything could change. Russell Wilson could die in a plane crash for all we know. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Like that would flip everything. So it's just, that's pretty much it, honestly.
So speaking of the division, who's going to win it, we should get into who we're going to pick for this week's game winners.
All right. You want me to go through the list? I got them right in front of me.
All right.
Let's go. Bills, Jets.
This is too obvious.
The Bills, yeah. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have said it. All right, Cleveland, Cincinnati.
That could go either way.
I'm gonna tip my hat on the Cleveland side. I just think Cincinnati's got a few more years. I think Joe Burrow really has to settle in there before they actually start to do. I honestly think they could go 7-9
Oh, yeah.
in this division, which would be a winning record.
Ideal.
Yeah, I think I'd be happy with that if I'm a Cincinnati fan, especially since you haven't won anything since A.J. Green and Andy Dalton were relevant.
Vontaze perfect.
Oh, God, I hate that man. All right, next, Green Bay and Houston.
Green Bay.
Green Bay, yeah. Dallas and the Washington football team.
Ooh, I want to say Washington, but I think Dallas.
I'm tipping my hat to Washington.
I
mean,
feel like Washington could upset them.
I don't even know how much of an upset it would be without Dak Prescott at the helm of that offense.
They did lose a lot of their, not a lot, but like a couple key piece O linemen, and hopefully our defensive linemen can take advantage.
Yeah, Chase Young's gonna have 400 sacks.
Hopefully.
But Detroit, Atlanta. Oh my God.
I think the Lions are gonna win that one.
Yeah, I think so too. That's another one. I don't understand how Atlanta's bad. I really don't.
They have Julio Jones still, who's
Calvin
still,
Ridley, Matt Ryan.
I don't know. That's one team that can't just piece together.
Literally should have won the Super Bowl 3 years ago, and now they're garbage. Carolina, New Orleans. Panthers versus Saints.
I think I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Panthers.
I think Robbie Anderson's going to perform.
I love Robbie Anderson. I think I'm going to have to go with the OG and Drew Brees. He's not going to lose a division game to a team. I think the Saints take that one. I think they go 4-2. Pittsburgh Titans. We already covered that one pretty much. So let's Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Las Vegas.
Ooh, that's tough.
I think strictly because Las Vegas is missing the entirety of their offensive line. I think Tampa Bay, Tom Brady throws for 400 yards and 5 TDs.
If the Raiders had their O-line, I would definitely say Raiders.
Yeah, the also thing is people forget is how good Tampa Bay's defense is. Tampa Bay's got a quality defense.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. And then San Francisco, New England.
Ooh, that one.
That could go either way. I think I'm gonna hedge my bets more towards Jimmy G strictly because their defense is so much better. So I think San Francisco is definitely gonna have to take that one. I mean, they need that win too. New England, Cam Newton could come back at MVP form. Who knows? Kansas City, Denver, not even a question. Kansas City's going to steamroll them.
Yeah.
They're going to take care of business. Jacksonville, Chargers.
You know what? I'm gonna say this boldly. I think this is gonna be an upset, and I think the Jaguars are gonna win.
Honestly, you could just flip a coin on that game.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go with you on the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars could definitely win that game. It's just going to come down to can the Chargers play well. Seattle, Arizona. Probably the biggest game of the week.
That's when you're going to watch.
Sunday night football.
Oh, yeah. That's another coin flip, but I think that Seattle's going to perform. I think Seattle's going to win.
I think Seattle goes 6-0. Kyle Murray gives like a pick away or something like that, and it's just going to be game over from there. And then the final game, the Monday night game, the Chicago Bears versus the Los Angeles Rams.
That's going to be a good game too.
I think Nick Foles just does his thing, Visor Nick Foles, the man, the myth, the legend himself. I think they go 6-1. I think Robert Woods probably has a pretty good game. Jared Goff does his thing. I just think it's going to be a shootout, and the Bears outscore them strictly because the Bears' defense is the best in the league.
I want I think the Rams are going to win because I think Aaron Donald is going to wreak havoc that game. He's going to get 2
True.
sacks, a bunch of tackles for losses. And that Rams defense is underrated. They have shadowed stars. Jalen Ramsey.
Taylor Ramsey, the best cornerback in the league, is still
Oh, yeah.
sitting there. Aaron Donald, the best defensive player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that could go either way. I guess it's not going to be a shootout. As I said earlier, I think I could probably put that score prediction like 14-10.
I feel like
honestly.
I feel like that game would either be a big blowout or neck and neck the whole time.
And no scoring.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I have to talk about. If you're ready, sign us off there, Shant.
All right. Well, this was S.N.R. podcast, our first episode, and we'll see you soon, I guess.
Yeah. See you in 2 weeks, everyone.